Hello guys, welcome to African Stories with Nsa. If you're new to this channel, please do well to subscribe and share our stories. Thank you. Today's story is titled The Landlady. Idara and her husband were moving to a new city for a fresh start. Her husband had just gotten a new job in another city and was asked to start in 2 weeks, so they were faced with the task of relocating with their 2 children. There was a lot to do in those 2 weeks. They had to sell some of their furniture and home appliances, put away unwanted belongings in storage, clean and tidy up their former house, among other things. Luckily, they had found an affordable 3-bedroom house to rent from an estate agent at short notice. So the following week, they packed up their bags and were on their way to their new start in Abuja. They all looked forward to their fresh beginning in a new city. The kids couldn't contain their excitement. They were going to have their own rooms for the first time, attend a new school and meet new friends. They arrived at the house on Sunday evening, both tired and excited at the same time. Idara knew she had a lot of work to do. Even though she knew the house had already been cleaned, she wanted to deep clean it again to her taste. She also had to unpack and arrange the house, all without any help. Her husband Akan was to resume at the office the very next day, and the children had to be in school as well, so her week was going to be very busy. The next day, after the children and her husband had left in the morning, Idara got to work. She decided to start from the kitchen. She was going to clean before unpacking the foodstuffs she brought and putting them away in the cupboards. She was hard at work when suddenly she heard a sound. At first, she paid no attention to it and blamed it on the neighbors. But she heard the sound again, and this time she was sure it came from her house, as it sounded very close. She paused for a second to listen. It sounded like someone opening and shutting a door. Idara dropped the rag in her hand and went to check. The sound seemed to be coming from the store at the end of the long corridor. Had she not closed the door properly? Idara wondered to herself. She walked to the door and made sure it was properly shut. Then she went back to her chore. When Akan came back that evening, she told him about what happened, and they both laughed it off. Akan was of the opinion that she was worried for nothing as usual. "I think you were scared of being in this big house on your own, dear," Akan said as he put the dishes in the kitchen sink. "I guess so," Idara agreed, not giving much thought to it. Later on, in the middle of the night, Idara woke up to check on the children in their rooms as she normally would. She went to her daughter's room first, opened the door and peeped in. Eno was sleeping soundly, so Idara shut the door and went next door to check on her son. He too was fast asleep. Unlike before, when she used to wake them up to use the toilet at night, they were a bit bigger now and able to get up by themselves and use the toilet if they needed to. Moreover, there was a toilet connecting both their rooms that they shared. She shut her son's door and turned around to go back to her room, when from the corner of her eyes she could see something move past quickly, heading towards the living room. Fear gripped her, but curiosity got the better part of her. Idara walked towards the living room, and as she got in and switched on the lights, the being vanished through the front door. Idara hurried back to the room to meet her husband. "Honey, wake up," she tapped him lightly. Akan mumbled, still very sleepy. "What's the matter? Is it morning yet?" "No, this is more serious. Please wake up." Instantly, Akan's eyes flew open and he sat up in bed. What's going on? There is a strange being in this house. How? Where is it? Akan got up from the bed. I went to check on the kids and on my way back, I saw a woman walking through the living room and out the front door. What? Are you sure? Yes, I know what I saw, she replied. Akan slumped back on the bed. This is scary. Does this mean we're living in a haunted house? Oh God, this can't be happening. Ida was close to tears. Akan held her close in an embrace. Don't worry, dear, everything will be alright. Let's pray and go back to sleep. They both went to check on the kids, prayed in every part of the house, then came back to their room and slept. Ida woke up in the morning feeling very tired. After what happened at night, she had found it very difficult to fall asleep. She couldn't get the picture out of her mind. Now she began to doubt herself. Had she actually seen the ghost, or was it just a figment of her imagination? She was sure that she was wide awake when she had gone to check on the kids at night. She shrugged off the thought as she got out of bed. Idara could hear her husband whistling happily as he had a shower. She shook her head in amusement. Did it mean that he wasn't bothered at all? As she got the children ready for school and made breakfast, Idara kept thinking of what to do. She knew she couldn't spend the day in the house on her own. I'll be going to the market after I drop the kids off at school, she told her husband as he was about to leave. Okay, have a good day, dear. I'll see you after work. He hugged her and left for work. She dropped her kids off at school, which wasn't too far from the house, and made her way to the market to buy some items she needed for the house. She tried to spend some more time window shopping as she did not want to be alone in the house. She wished she was in a city where she had friends or family to visit and while away time. When she was done, Idara took her shopping and made her way back home. She had just turned into her street when she noticed the woman in front of the living room window. The woman quickly closed the curtains when she knew she had been seen. Ida was now sure that she had not been dreaming or imagining things. There was indeed someone else living in that house with them. Idara made a U-turn. There was no way she was going back to that house on her own, she thought to herself. She needed to go to the estate agents they had rented the house from. Her husband may behave nonchalantly about what was going on, but she was not going to take it lightly. At the estate agent's office, she described her encounter to one of the staff who did not look surprised. I'm sorry you had to go through this. Actually, you're not the first to complain about it. Really? So you knew this was an issue and you still rented out the house? We take full responsibility for this, madam. The thing is, we did not believe the other tenant when she complained. We thought she was just imagining things. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Why is this happening? The thing is, the real owner of the house, Mrs. Nemba, used to be our client. We helped her manage her house until she passed away 2 years ago. As she had no children or named next of kin, we took over the ownership of the house. We rented it to the previous tenants who complained that they had been hearing weird sounds and seen a slim tall lady with long hair on different occasions. Does this sound like the person you've been seeing? Yes, she has long grey hair. She's also tall and slender. Well, that's Mrs. Nemba all right. He went to the filing cabinet behind her, rummaged through it, and when he found what he was looking for, he brought it out and closed the cabinet. He opened the file before him and brought out a picture. Does this look like her? Yes, That's her. So what do we do? We'll start looking for alternative accommodation for you, madam. It may take a while, but as soon as we find something, we'll let you know. Idara sat down in the office for a minute, feeling very helpless. Now that she had confirmed that there was indeed a ghost in the house, it made her even more afraid. She eventually summoned up some courage and got up. Please, I'll be waiting to hear from you as soon as possible. She picked up her bags and left. That night, during dinner, Idara narrated the day's events to her husband, who listened in disbelief. We need to leave this house as soon as possible, he said. I do not care about the rent we have already paid. How do I concentrate at work knowing that my family is in danger? Just as Akan was done speaking, they all heard an eerie sound coming from the store, and the kids scurried close to their parents, frightened. Akan stood up, picking up one of the table knives, and advanced towards the store. He could see the door had been left slightly ajar. He switched on the light, which was by the entrance, and went in. There was nothing and no one. Who are you? What is it you want from us? Show yourself! He screamed into the almost empty room, which was mostly filled with empty boxes and cartons. He stood there for a minute and then turned around and went back to the dining table. There's nothing there, don't worry. Let's just finish our dinner in peace, he said to them, trying not to scare the children. After dinner, they watched the television for a while, said their prayers, and went to sleep. That night, Idara saw Mrs. Nemba in her dream. She had been tidying up the living room when Idara confronted her. Why are you tidying up my house? That's my job. No, this is my house. I can do whatever I like, whenever I want. If you do not take good care of my house, I will, Mrs. Nemba said. But my family and I live here. We paid the rent to live here. That may be true, but I own this house. I am the landlady, Mrs. Nemba replied. Just then, Idara woke up. She turned and saw her husband sleeping soundly by her side and heaved a sigh of relief that it was just a dream. But she could not shrug off the nagging thought that what she had seen in the dream was, in fact, real. She went to check on the children and, satisfied that they were safe, said a prayer and went back to sleep. The next morning, while they were having breakfast, they heard a knock on the door. Who could that be? Idara asked. They had barely spent a week in the house and didn't know anyone. I'll have a look, Akan offered. Maybe it's the neighbors. He got up and looked through the peephole. Oh, it's the estate manager. Akan opened the door and let him in. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Sorry to intrude this morning. No, it's not a problem. Would you like to sit down? No thanks, I won't be long. Following your wife's complaint yesterday, I've come to inform you that we found another house for you and your family. Thank you, Jesus, Idara screamed in the background. Both men burst into laughter. This is honestly such great news. Thank you so much. You are most welcome. The keys will be available for you to pick up by Friday, and if you want, you can move out of here by the weekend, said the estate manager. We are so grateful. Thank you, Idara said, unable to contain her excitement. When the estate manager left, she jumped on her husband and gave him a big hug. Honey, I'm so happy that this is coming to an end soon. I couldn't have imagined experiencing what we've been through for much longer. God is so faithful. Yes, he is, Akan concurred. That is the end of this story. Please, if you like stories like this, please do well to subscribe and share this channel. Until I come your way again next time. Bye.